We're back with the Final Percent podcast, and I am recording this podcast super early in the morning. It's very interesting with the morning time, how my voice is just so low. If there's anyone out there who knows why that is, I'm curious to understand. So, anyway, hello and welcome to Movie Phone. See, I know I've done that in the past when I do these early morning podcasts, but it is what it is. It's really, anyone who knows my musical career and different things that I've gone through, I actually sing unbelievably high. So me being able to talk real low, it's actually pretty fun for me. So just bear with me. I'm going to maybe have some fun with some low notes. Low for me. We have a guy in our friend group who he sings lower than any human on the planet. So I'm going to have fun with what I have when I have it. So anyway, today I want to talk a little bit about the concept of push power towards power. By the way, we've had a bunch of guests on recently. If you want to be a guest on the Final Percent podcast, just email info@thefinalpercent.com. We're also working really hard to get that site up and running with a lot of really cool things. We're going to be offering I think it has like 40 hours of content, 100% for free. No, you don't have to put in your credit card. No, you don't have to, after 30 days, it starts charging. No, the first course is 100% free because there's certain knowledge with being an entrepreneur that we think should be very much common sense. And so we want to make sure that everyone gets through that part before we try to sell advanced courses. We want to make sure that there's a barrier to entry and a baseline of knowledge to start working with us. And I just don't want it to be a cash grab where everyone just comes in. It's like, whoa, these are advanced concepts. No, let's give away all of the stuff that we think should be common sense for free. And then that way, if you can't afford some of the higher end coaching or courses, why we think it's important to offer that for free, it's going to absolutely be tools where you can go out into the marketplace, have that entrepreneurial spirit, and you're going to be able to go make money. And then if you're like, wow, I want to kind of go further with this, if you have a bunch of money, you're going to remember who gave it to you for free, and hopefully you remember us. If not, you know what? No big deal. We just want to really help entrepreneurs move forward. But anyway, that was the shameless plug. We're working on it right now, but let's just get back to the idea of push power towards power. One of the things that I've noticed in the networking world, especially today, is everybody is trying to steal someone else's power. And if you get, and what I mean by that is we all have the one-upper of the group. Oh yeah, my dad owns a house that has 7 bedrooms, and then someone inevitably in the friend group, oh, my dad just bought his second house that has 9 bedrooms. And what you're doing in that dynamic is someone stating something saying, hey, wow, I never thought my family would do this, or I never thought this would be possible, so on and so forth. And then you're immediately trying to steal their thunder, steal their power. And it's okay to just let that information come up naturally or not at all. But you don't want to try to steal what someone else is getting accomplished, whether you like what they're doing or not. If they are an influencer in your space, if they're powerful in who you are, what you do, if they have been a mentor, if they are just further along down the road of life than you, push power towards power. Stop trying to steal their thunder. Stop saying, hey, for me to support you, somehow that cuts me down. That is the biggest problem that I see in young entrepreneurs right now is someone has a business idea and it's a group of entrepreneurs, which having a really good friend group of entrepreneurs a lot of times can be like nailing jello to a ceiling, especially if they try to get into business together. But people are so insecure these days because we live in this social media generation. We're living in this whole fake it till you make it, trying to prove that we're either perfect or prove that someone should have pity on us. And it gets us in this mindset of if you're trying to constantly act perfect, but you're not, you're constantly competing for what? For attention, for likes, for whatever. It's just not a healthy way of doing things. Whereas if you see, and everyone is powerful in something. They could be powerful in speaking. They could be powerful in business knowledge. They could be powerful in a relationship. They can be powerful as an influence in your life or people that are in your life. Everyone is powerful in something. They could be the world's best husband. They could be the world's best this, that, and the other. It doesn't really matter, but everyone absolutely is powerful in something. Here's the thing, though. Everyone's also not powerful in a lot of things. What if you had, I don't know, 10,000, 100,000, a million, 100 million, a billion people around the planet trying to push you towards power and pushing you towards the things that you are good at? You wouldn't have to worry about your weaknesses nearly as much or try to hide them, or you would be so much more secure with yourself. You'd be able to raise your hand and say, hey, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing here. So if you get into the practice of pushing power towards power, and it could be someone, and I struggle to say above or beneath you, because someone could have a bigger bank account, but the other person could just be a better person. So who's above or beneath? Well, one's above in a bank account, but one's above in character. Unfortunately, we're using the bank account as a scoreboard right now. And we need to stop that. We need to stop using the bank account as the scoreboard, and we can be better about who we are as human beings. So when you see someone who is operating in your space, or someone who you think could be a good fit, a good partner, just someone you want to know, the best way to get them to know you is to really push them to power. It's okay to support people, guys. Basically what I'm saying, push power towards power, that literally just means support one another. Now, the other side of this whole push power towards power kind of idea that I came up with is you got to have well, maybe I didn't come up with it. I mean, I've heard proximity of power a lot, and that's what we're going to go into next. So to be able to push power towards power, you have to be in the proximity of power. Now, proximity of power can be done in a lot of ways. You can go out and network. You can find the right circles to be in. You can join masterminds. There's masterminds that are anywhere from $10,000 a year to, I think Russell Brunson just raised his price to $100,000 a year. I know Tony Robbins is $100,000 a year. And you're just paying to be in the room with a bunch of people who could pay $100,000 a year. Holy crap, right? That's awesome. Well, there's other ways to get this kind of proximity to power. Join a country club. That's the good old boys mastermind, right? Join a country club, but now you're going to be able to have rounds of golf with people who you know paid some sort of barrier to entry to be there. So a lot of people get it twisted. They're saying, hey, you know what, what value add am I going to get? What value am I going to get from this? Hey, the proximity of power, man, I'm telling you, when you get in a room with the right people, I mean, think about it, proximity to power, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Apple doesn't happen if those two, now they didn't pay to be together, but if Steve Jobs didn't choose to go back to college and be around Woz, I mean, everything changes, right? Actually, the world that we live in changes because the proximity to power wasn't there. And Steve Jobs creates something else. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that both of them would have made an impact, but not this exponential impact that happens when you find the right people at the right time and you choose to push them to power. Because the first thing that Steve Jobs said is, Woz can engineer, and they took him to homebrew, and they did all of these things, and he pushed him to power, and he put him in places that Woz would not go himself. And because of that, Steve Jobs got to talk about things and got to showcase things and got to be someone that he could not be without Woz. Who's your Jobs? Who's your Woz? then what if you start multiplying this in groups, guys? So learn to push power towards power. Learn to be in the proximity of power. If you try to go overly control on people, if you try to diminish people's power, the reason why I know this, half the concepts that I've come up with are things that I wished I wouldn't have done in my younger years when I was trying to build my company. I wished I would have known to push power towards power because I was insecure and I would I wouldn't even show up or show out for anybody but myself. Now, it was funny. One of my speeches, I actively had the person who was calling the show saying, "Tonight is about you. You're the keynote speaker. You're doing this. Please don't talk about your team. I know that you have a propensity to just constantly talk about your team and give them praise." Well, you know what? I'm not going to stop doing that because if I don't have my team, I'm nothing. I often say now, if I don't have my team, I'm just a guy who talks a lot. But we carry out vision and carry out action and we get inspired and we get motivated together. And that's the thing that is truly great about building a right team because you're turning every new person that you have into this multiplication table instead of addition. So I'm not going to stop talking about my team because I know that they are constantly trying to push power towards power. They're trying to make me more powerful. But the reason they're doing that, there's a reciprocity. I want them to be more powerful. I want them to do bigger and greater and bolder things. And I have a powerful team. I can honestly say that. I have powerful friends. And when they do something, I want to push them towards power. I want to equip them. I want to make sure that they're using all their faculties and any resource that I can spare, whether it's time, energy, money, human capital, bringing people, getting other people to understand who these great people in my life are. I want to make sure that I pull out all the stops and I use my resources to help my friends. So just try that for a week. Go, instead of being petty, instead of being quiet, instead of saying, the old saying, this is the best way to sum this up. Look for who is not clapping when you're winning. Get rid of all those people. Those are the people who don't know how to push power towards power. And I'm telling you right now, people in power really get sensitive to things like that. But everyone's powerful at something. If you make $2 million a year and you see someone who makes $20,000 a year, but this guy who makes $20,000 a year is literally the world's greatest husband, and you're a crappy husband. Go push power towards power. Go talk to him. Say, hey, I'd love to take you out for a coffee. Me and my wife are kind of struggling. Is there any way I can just talk to you about some things? Because I've really noticed how you treat your wife, how you and her look at each other. You've been married for 10 years, whatever it is. Right there, he's more powerful than this other person who makes all this money. You get better at what you focus on. It's hard to focus on everything. And the best way to focus on everything is to find all the people who are powerful in the things that you lack in life and really push them to power. Don't be insecure about it. And then when you find someone who's in your same space, it's the same thing that you want to do, still push power towards power. Support one another. That's the bottom line. I want people to become powerful. I think that, yes, we should give more power to the people. But before we give more power to the people, we should make the people powerful. I want people to be powerful and have an effect on other people, have an effect on the people in their lives, but most importantly, have an effect on their life. If you listen to my podcast for any length of time, I appreciate that. I really do. And honestly, I don't care what industry you come from. I'd love to get you on here. I'd love to interview you. But just remember, if I can give you one thing to take away, if you're using this podcast for motivation, it is not how I talk to you that is going to change your life. It is vastly more important to understand how you talk to you. And I'm just hoping that you listening to this podcast will make it to where you start changing that little voice inside that says, hey, not, I can't afford that, but how can I afford that? But hey, anything is possible. I can break through. I can make something of myself. I can become more. I can do more. I can have more. I want you to believe. I want you to look in the mirror and truly know that you are going to achieve. You're going to achieve things. You're going to accomplish things. You got to change that narrative. So to end it, pushing power towards power means remember to push yourself towards power because you are powerful. Look in the mirror and push yourself towards power. Push yourself. Make that breakthrough. Everyone is powerful. This has been the Final Percent Podcast. Thanks for tuning in again, guys. info@thefinalpercent.com if you would do me the honor of hopping on this show and letting me interview you. Thank you so much. See you next.